Welcome to another video by Astroarmonico. In this video I'm going to explain you the technique translation of light, this time in English, so that more people can benefit from it. So what is translation of light? This is a technique which is aimed at channeling messages from, let's say, similar to the Akashic Record, but this time is about the inner guides. So the idea is that you get messages. I'm going to channel these messages. The customer is going to ask different questions about what's happening, what's wrong about his life, what is the problem with a specific person, what can he learn from his children, or why is the person experienced a circumstance with a specific person. How can he benefit from his current position at work? The idea is that you get information directed from your inner guide, in which you can really learn how to be practical, how to apply this information in your everyday life. It's easy information that you can, let's say, to put into practice. It's easy to understand. Sometimes some people ask for different exercises, some advice that help them to have a better life or to understand or solve specific problems. So there is not only, let's say, information given by theory. There's not only theoretical information, but there is also energetic information. So this tool is quite powerful because sometimes people can experience some changes, maybe not the first time during the session, but after they receive the recording. Because when I do this therapy or these kind of sessions, I record it. People can listen to it afterwards when they are more relaxed, when they are maybe after a few days later, so they can reflect, they can assimilate, they can digest information, they've got their own rhythm and pace to assimilate information. But there is a kind of vibration conveyed in these messages, in these kind of sessions, which means that it is easier for them to understand information and to assimilate and to experience it emotionally. So I really recommend it to people who want to learn from what's happening to them at the very moment, who want to understand specific things that happen to them. And in this kind of techniques, people can ask any kind of questions. So you are free to ask any kind of questions. But I recommend people to ask questions that can help them to understand what's happening to them, to understand the current situation, to understand specific relationships. You can also even ask about how does this person feel or think about me, or what is this person experiencing with me? Because the aim is that you can develop spiritually, emotionally, mentally. You can learn from this experience, and you understand the patterns and I understand basically what is the purpose behind the experiences you are having at a specific moment. So I'm going to now show you a specific case, a real example of a client, so you can get an idea of how it works, the specific questions you can ask. And as for the length of the session, it depends on the person. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes, sometimes it takes 40 minutes, sometimes it takes longer. It depends on the number of questions, on how deep you want to get when you ask these questions. So the further you want to get, the more or the longer it will take. I recommend a person to prepare the questions, to make sure about the specific topics they want to know, and As the session goes by, the person can also ask further questions if something is not clear or they want to deepen on a specific topic. Well, I hope to enjoy this example, and then at the end I will give you some more information. Enjoy it. Okay, Jesse, you can start asking the questions.
Okay. In which aspect do I have to change myself to grow or to develop in a better direction?
There are different aspects, but mainly the area in which you can grow faster, or which is the most important one, is the emotional sphere, especially in relationships, both in your family and in partnerships.
Okay. How can I improve? Do I have to change my behavior, or do I have to think more clearly what I want?
It's not about a behavior aspect or thinking about what you want. It's about mainly feeling what is more coherent with your inner self, because there is a problem in which you are not fully connected emotionally to your inner being, and that is disturbing, or is diverting your attention, and you are unfocused, and then you are a bit lost regarding what you want to do. There are some areas in which you think you want to do something, but this is more in a mental level, but is not connected truly to what you really want to do. And the problem is that there are some layers that prevent you from connecting emotionally to your inner being.
Okay. Do I have a mental disorder, or a disorder with its origins from my childhood?
You have some, we would say, problems, not disorders, which made you behave in a certain way, and you have a tendency to do what is meant to be correct, or what is meant to be done, and this is what prevents you from connecting to your inner being, to really allowing yourself to do what you really feel or what would really make you happy, because you have judge doing what you really want to do as something which is not correct, or being afraid of being punished, or as if there was going to be some threats from the environment if you allow yourself to do what you really want to do. So this is connected to some childhood experiences from your family background, in which there was a tendency to be correct and to do what others expected you to do, and you have not allowed yourself to undo these unconscious aspects.
How can I heal that best? Should I connect more with my inner child?
There are different ways. From the very beginning, obviously connecting with your inner child would be advisable. That would be the first step. But in order to do this, you will encounter some obstacles, because you have not allowed to do this way. So first of all, it's about paying attention to the different occasions in which you do things that you don't really feel like doing, things which are not in accordance to your emotions or in accordance to your beliefs at that moment. Especially, there's a tendency to do what the authority asks you to do. So it's about trying to be a bit more spontaneous, trying to be more out of the correctness. That would be the first thing. It's not about breaking the law, but it's about allowing yourself, or at least to allow yourself mentally the opportunity or the option to do something different, to think out of the box, to think differently, and that there are different ways to do things. There's not just one way, which is the correct, but there are no correct or incorrect ways, but the ones that are more attuned to your being, or to your the way that you feel better, basically.
Can I do more to influence my life in a positive way?
Yeah, the most important thing is connected to what I mentioned before.
Yeah.
It's about being connected to your emotions, because that way you will attract this easiness in your life, and you will experience that in your work, with your family, with your relationships. So that's the best thing you can do. It's about being more connected to your emotions, not doing things that you don't really feel like doing.
Okay. And sometimes I feel pessimistic or negative. When I get more connected to my emotions, can I also overcome that, these negative thoughts?
Well, these negative thoughts can, because there are some unconscious thoughts, as if you were going to be marginalized from society or from people, or as if you were going to be punished, or as if there was something wrong about yourself. So these emotions are just the first layer, but this is about digging and about reflecting about the unconscious thoughts which are not true. So it's about daring to do what you really want to do, and believing that you are not wrong because you do something different to what others expect you to do. We would say that this, like, sometimes is like a sabotage reaction, in which if I don't do what others want me to do, I feel wrong. But the next step is to discover that there's something else, and that you can be happy doing whatever you want to do.
Okay, then the next topic I'd like to talk to is Gavin. What does he think about himself?
Gavin feels he blames himself, and he blames others, and he's not a person who wants to change at this very moment. He's quite victim, and he doesn't like thinking about others. He's self-focused, and the main problem is that he's not open to change. So he doesn't allow himself to get information that could help him. So in some way, he's not a positive person, in the sense that he is not willing to hear positive ideas or to open himself for self change. So that is somehow is not the same, but obviously he is a reflection of something that happened to you in the past. You are not at this moment, but he's reflecting you a past layer, and in this sense he would be a lesson about forgiveness, about accepting him, but not about trying to save him, because he's not accepting this help.
What does he want from me?
He wants some attention, and he doesn't want to feel alone. He wants to keep contact, but not in a positive way or healthy way, because he needs someone to blame, and he needs this energy about being a victim. So he's not really interested in your life, or in your in the way you can improve at the very moment. He's more interested in himself. So somehow he's using you in a selfish way. If you realize that the way he drains your energy, you will understand this mechanism.
What can I do that he leaves me in peace, that I get more distanced?
Well, basically, it's not about he can do, it's about what you can do. He's not going to make a change at the very moment. So it's basically it's you, the person, who has to take the next step. It's you, the one who has to set the limits. Is you, the one who has to stop paying attention to his demands. It's you who has to stop giving your energy, because he is addicted to you in that sense, because he gets his dose, and you are the one who is giving his dose, because you allow that. So it's about paying attention to this system, basically. When you start realizing, when you start doing these steps, he will start realizing, and he will probably react, trying to get your energy. But if you are firm with your limits, he will start changing his attitude towards you.
Do I have to protect my children from him and this kind of behavior? Does he manipulate them?
He's trying to use your children to manipulate both of you, and the most useful way to not to protect, but to set the limits, is to be firm, is to set a clear limits, to understand your position, in the sense that in the way you interact with him. If you are firm with your position, he will understand that this kind of manipulation doesn't work with your children. he will try to manipulate them. But if you keep being firm with your position, at some point he will stop.
But how can I I can't influence his life with the children when I'm not there, but how can he help me? Or what can I do that he takes over more responsibility for our children? Like not just manipulating them or that they can do whatever they want to. Is there a way that I somehow can influence their life?
You mean to influence your children's life?
No, that I can maybe influence Gavin to take over more responsibility for the children.
He's not likely to take that responsibility with your children because he doesn't want to change at this moment. So the best thing you can do is about you being responsible about yourself and about the part that concerns your children, but you cannot be responsible for his position or his responsibility on your children. You can only accept the situation in which you are right now because you share the children with him. So the only thing is about accepting that your children have also decided this experience, and it's about allowing them to experience what they want to experience with Gavin. The only thing you can do is about being responsible, you with Gavin, setting the limits, and throughout time he would probably change his attitude. And this is the most effective way you can do, focusing on yourself and setting your limits with him.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to talk about Felix now. Does he have like a disorder or a problem with himself?
He's quite insecure, and he is quite insecure also about women. He's got bad experiences with women, and he doesn't really trust women. So basically, he's a bit scared of your relationship. He's not willing to open himself freely. So he takes some, we would say that he takes some distance because he's a bit afraid. And the main problem is that he sees that now he's got a position in which he has to take a decision going further or stopping, because he cannot play this game anymore.
He doesn't want to play the game?
He's got he realized at this moment he cannot play the game, in the sense that he cannot continue behaving like in the past. He realizes that either he makes a step further, or there's no way, or there's no point in continuing behaving the same way, because he realizes that you are willing to have a close relationship, but he is deciding what to do. He is aware that he needs to make a step. So he cannot play the game behaving as he did in the past.
What does he feel for me?
He's got opposite feelings because sometimes he feels close to you and he would like to have a relationship with you, but others he is overwhelmed and he feels committed to you because he feels he cannot commit basically to what you are not asking, but what you are somehow um, no, yeah, expecting. So he's got these kind of opposite feelings.
Can you repeat the last, that he does he think I'm asking too much, or that he can't give me what I'm asking for or what I need?
He realizes he needs to give you more because you are willing to have a closer relationship with him, but he's afraid of making this step. He's somehow afraid of it because he is afraid of commitment. So
Okay.
that's what scares him at this moment. But this situation is quite similar to Gavin in the sense that for you, the most important thing is to be firm. If you are firm, that would make him take a firm position, either one way or the other way. But as long as you are not firm, he is going to play this kind of game, but he realizes that he cannot play it for a long time.
Yeah. So so I don't have the opportunity to influence that a bit. I mean, I'm not sure if I should give that relation up, or if it's worth keeping the contact and show him that I'm still interested in him. I don't know which way to go.
Well, it's recommended for you to give a step further in the sense that you can feeling or wanting more commitment and informing him about this, but not in the sense that you expect him to accept or to continue the relationship, but in the sense that you show yourself, you teach yourself that you are a committed person and that you can experience this. So it's not about giving up a relationship, but about showing this commitment and showing what are the facts, what is his reaction, how does he move, is he accepting this commitment or is he not accepting this commitment? And then you will have the answer.
Would he be a good partner for me?
Well, at this very moment, he is not really giving you what you want from a partner. But this is not like the most important thing. The most important thing is to focus on what you can offer to a partner and to set a good position for you to be ready for a good partner. If you take this step now, either he or another person would be as a more suitable partner for you.
And he said that he preferred to be friends, not to have a relationship as a couple. I'm not sure if I should accept that.
Well, it depends on what you want from that person, because if you accept a friendship as if you had another friend, that would work. But if it is a way for you to resign or to accept what wasn't possible, the important thing is that you feel at ease. And if you
Sorry, I must feel.
the important thing is that you feel at ease with that.
Okay.
Because sometimes these kind of situations are more used to as a way to prevent the negative feelings, or not to be aware of what you could have experienced. So if you are going to use this person or this apparently friendship, or let's call it a new friend, as a way not to feel what you could have experienced, that is not positive.
What can I learn from my relation to him? Or why is he important? Why have I met him?
Well, you have met him in order to realize that you can experience a committed relationship, that you can have a fulfilling relationship, and that you can have normal or a happy relationship, because there was not so conflictive as it was the previous one.
There are some other men in my life I've met. For example, Alex, Florian, or Karl. Do they have an important role, or will they have an important role?
Well, they have different profiles, and some of them could show you a new world. They could teach you many things, and you can learn a lot from some of them. So it is recommended for you to explore these kind of relationships.
Do you know with whom I can learn the most, or who's most, I don't know, healthy for my development?
Could you repeat the names?
Alex, Florian, or Karl?
Yeah, okay, so Carl. Because he's open-minded, and he feels a kind of attraction to you, not necessarily sexually, but he experiences that he needs to spend time with you. He doesn't understand why, but that's a purpose of this, for this kind of relationship or these kind of encounters.
I'd like to talk about Henry and Marlene. How are they feeling inside, especially after the separation from Gavin?
Well, they feel quite good when they are with you, because they feel protected, and they feel they can be more spontaneous, and they can be the way they are. But with Gavin, they feel kind of unprotected, and they feel the atmosphere is quite unstable. So they feel a bit not weird, but they don't feel comfortable with him.
Is there a way I can help them in that situation when they feel uncomfortable?
While you can support them when they are with you, that's the most important way you can help them. But they have chosen this experience. They have chosen parents which were going to be separated in order to experience this kind of contrast. So the most important thing you can do is just accept this situation and focus on yourself, because you can convey these positive beliefs or emotions unconsciously to them when you work with your relationships.
Does Henry need more help, like as Marlene? Is he more unstable?
He's a bit more introvert, and he has more problems to show his emotions openly. So he kind of needs more time, a bit more attention, and he's quite sensitive. So basically, he needs a bit more time. Maybe you could spend some time with him, um, asking about what is he's experiencing, or what are his emotions.
Does Marlene sometimes feel neglected because Henry gets a lot of attention?
Marlena is used to that. She doesn't feel neglected.
Sorry?
She doesn't feel neglected. She just would like to spend more time with you and with him. She would like to play more with both of you, but she doesn't feel neglected.
Sometimes I'm quickly very angry with Henry's behavior. Can you explain why? Is it because he and I are very similar?
Basically, it's because you don't accept his moment, and you want things to be all right very quickly, and you don't allow yourself to take your time and to do like an inner process to understand what's happening and connecting emotionally, in a more deep way. So there's a kind of tendency to avoid the problem and to do the next thing, sometimes even um, forgetting what happened in order to do a routine thing, for example, preparing the dinner. And sometimes you need to allow yourself to give, or you need to give importance to this kind of emotional conflicts in order to solve them.
Is there something I need to change in the upbringing of my children? Is there something I can do better?
Yeah, mainly giving yourself the time to connect emotionally, being a bit more patient, not being that worried about what you have to do, the times, the tasks, the chores, but to be a bit more spontaneous, You could even include yourself in these kind of games. Your children are playing sometimes as if you were more or as if the day was part of a game, because sometimes you tend to be quite serious with them.
Why do I want to control so much?
Well, because mainly you are afraid of these unconscious emotions, because you are afraid of change, because you are afraid of spontaneity, and you think that the order is stability. There's a functional point which is positive, but there's a lack of stability. Sorry, a lack of spontaneity. So you are afraid of letting emotions go, and that is very important.
Do you think that Henry needs a therapy?
And he's quite young, so it's not necessary for him to have therapy. The best way to help him is that you change, is that you allow this information, is that you digest this kind of information I mentioned before, because if you change, this will directly affect him in a positive way. So if you normalize some things like emotions or spontaneity, he will start feeling more relaxed, and he will start showing his emotions, and he will be a more extrovert.
Okay. When I was a child, I didn't feel very well with my parents. Why?
Well, because they were not paying attention to the emotional world at all. They were not aware of the importance of these aspects. So you receive the material nurture and material security, but you didn't receive emotional nurture. And this created an atmosphere in which regular things were quite automatic, were routinary, in which it was quite a black and white family.
And why haven't they shown many emotions? Because you said, and they didn't know it is important.
They were not aware of this world, of this dimension of life. They were not touching with their emotions because they were not taught to do this. They were afraid, or they were basically they were unaware of them.
But they also didn't take care of myself, I think.
They didn't take care of yourself emotionally.
Okay.
Because they could not read your emotions.
But sometimes I have the impression that they still can't read my emotions today. Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
Why haven't they developed further?
Because they were not interested in this world, in this dimension, and they were quite unconscious. They have lived in a automatic way throughout their lives, so they have not even reflected or even pay attention to the world of emotions, and they prefer not to deepen on them because that would have meant exploring some difficult emotions.
What kind of problem do I have today with my parents?
Well, the first thing is you don't feel loved somehow, and you feel that you were unnurtured, and there's some kind of unprotected feeling unconsciously. So you have developed a personality in which you are hyper responsible and you think you need to be responsible for many things because it's a way to compensate this kind of unnurtured dimension you experience in your childhood. So the important thing is to realize about this lack of emotional nurture from your parents. Start experiencing it and start accepting it.
What kind of feelings do I have? Are there more negative feelings towards my mom than to my dad?
There's some unconscious feelings of kind of betrayal, as if she wasn't there when you needed it, and resentful feelings. And this is something rather unconscious. So it's true that there's some more negative feelings towards your mom than towards your dad, because there's some feelings of being hurt.
As a child, I always thought I had a better connection to my mom because my dad sometimes was angry very quickly. He was very strict, and sometimes he hit me. But how did that affect my personality?
Well, sometimes you feel closer to women as if they were more supportive or more trustworthy than men. And then the masculine image is that men are not trustworthy. That's mainly how it affected you. So it's about undoing these associations because unconsciously you have this information and you are reproducing this with your relationships.
And what kind of feelings do I have towards my dad today?
The feelings is about distance, is about not knowing each other as if he was a stranger. So there are inner feelings about sadness because you don't know that person.
What kind of role do I play within my family, with my parents and my brothers?
Your role is more the one who doesn't want to follow the rules in the family, the one who is like focusing on her family but not focusing on our family. and they regard you as if you were rebelling with them, even though this is not true, and somehow you feel like you are not, or you cannot find your place with your parents and your brothers. So this system is not balanced, and you kind of feel that you have to create your own family, but in order to oppose to that, to your biological family. So creating like two different teams.
Do I have a healthier relationship to my brothers?
Sorry, again, can you repeat the question?
Do I have a healthy relationship to my brothers?
Well, it's a correct relationship, but it's not deep relationship or a deep emotional relationship, because this kind of distance you experience with your parents has been reproduced with your brothers.
Did I build up self-protecting strategies because of my family?
Yes.
How I've grown up?
Yes, that's what I said about creating your own family, but keeping this family apart from your parents. So you created, you build up strategies about protection, about protecting from others, about trying to find a refugee, a place to protect, but not to share or not to be open to others.
Do I have to do something to heal from these childhood experiences?
Well, you can start realizing about these mechanisms, and also starting experiencing these unprotected feelings, being aware that you feel emotionally unprotected, and this is something that has been reproduced again now with Kevin. So it's about forgiving this, and being firm with what you want, and trusting that you can be happy and that you deserve a relationship, a fulfilling relationship. So when you work with partnerships, you can start healing these aspects, because you could have a partner which would support you in a healthy way, but there's some work to be done first. The first step would be being aware of these wounds, and from these wounds, starting being aware of them, working with them, finding a partner, being aware of the wounds. A little by little, you can heal these kind of wounds.
Okay, I think that was it. Or is there another advice or you could give?
No, we think that this information it's right now for this moment, and we hope that this information helps you, and we encourage you to continue with this process, And we thank you for being open to this kind of information. I hope you liked this video, and I'm going to give you the information for those of you who are interested in having a session. You can email me at astroharmonico@gmail.com, and you can find me in the social networks, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Astroharmonico. Feel free to send me an email if you want to get further information, if you have any questions, and whatever, right? And well, thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in other videos. Bye bye.